The Arsenal of Miracles by Gardner F. Fox. Gardner Fox was something of a celebrity in the comic book world. For DC Comics, he created Sandman, Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and Flash. He wrote over 4,000 comic book stories, about a third of them for DC. He was very fond of the early heroic science fiction pulp novels, the sort of thing Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote. Fox had a law degree, but during the Great Depression, he turned to comics to make a living. By 1964, when this book was published, Fox was an old hand at cranking out pulp fiction. The Arsenal of Miracles is the second novel in an ace double containing John Brunner's Endless Shadow, which I reviewed recently. If you have ever read any of the Edgar Rice Burroughs science fiction tales, then you are familiar with what the Arsenal of Miracles has to offer. A heroic loner with strong morals and a never-say-die attitude goes up against enormous, seemingly insurmountable forces. He is driven not only by a sense of justice, but by his love for an ineffably beautiful woman. In this case, the hero is Bran McGannon, and his lovely soulmate is Pagana of the silver hair. The novel opens like a lot of heroic fantasies and Western novels. A tough loner wanders into town. He's down to his last dollar and hungry. His lifelong dependence on luck leads him to believe he need only find a gambling establishment in order to turn his dollar into a grub stake so he can move on. But this is no saddle tramp or wily thief. Bran McGannon was once an admiral in the Starfleet. Like Captain Kirk, he won legendary battles with the Federation's enemies. When they retired him to a desk job, he said to hell with it and began wandering the universe, much like a spacefaring Jack Reacher. McGannon is truly blessed with luck. As fate has it, he discovers very ancient technology, forgotten for millennia since its creators went extinct. This technology allows him to hop from planet to planet in the wink of an eye. He bums around gathering knowledge and experience, ignoring the Federation and the society of which he was once a part. Pagana is the queen of the Leonir, a race of aliens who once waged war with the Federation, a race which Bran defeated in a conclusive battle. Despite their turbulent past, Bran and Pagana are hopelessly in love with one another. Pagana shows up unexpectedly on the remote world where Bran is gambling. She wins him as a slave in a toss of the dice. Later we learn he deliberately lost because, he's just so into her. When Grandu, Pagana's brother, usurps her throne and takes over their home planet, she is forced to flee with Bran from one Stargate portal to another, searching for a way to win back the throne. Along the way, Pagana comes in possession of a strange egg-shaped gem, which turns out to be a key left by the long-extinct creators of the Stargate system. But what does this key unlock? The Arsenal of Miracles, of course. When they finally uncover the silvery structure that can be opened by the egg-shaped key, they learn the old ones have left an incredible array of technology to be discovered by future generations. Can Bran and Pagana master these enigmatic weapons in time to use them against her ruthless brother Grandu? I'm betting somehow they can. There's nothing new here. This is just a good old-fashioned bit of heroic pulp fiction. As I read it, I could easily imagine it as a comic book series. Not surprising, given Fox's extensive background in comics. If you like Thongor, Conan, John Carter, and such, you'll probably enjoy this story. It's not brilliant literature, but it's at least as entertaining as most of the choices you'll find on TV. I had already uploaded this review to YouTube before I realized I had completely forgotten to mention something I noticed while reading The Arsenal of Miracles. I'm not just a science fiction fan, but also a big fan of popular music from the 60s and early 70s. While still in high school, I remember reading an article about Jimi Hendrix that said the inspiration for the song Purple Haze came from a science fiction novel Jimi read during the transatlantic flight to England. Over the years, conflicting reports emerged, and as many drugs as Jimmy was taking, he frankly had no clear recollection and was probably prone to embellishment. Mention was made of a story by Philip Jose Farmer. I found that conjecture unconvincing. All these years later, as I was reading The Arsenal of Miracles, as I'm nearing the end of the story, on page 151, the phrase purple haze jumped out at me. I think it's highly probable that this is the novel Jimmy read on his way to the UK. I think Gardner F. Fox may be the man behind one of the most famous classic rock songs of all time. The Arsenal of Miracles by Gardner F. Fox. I like it for no other reason than the fact that it's part of an ace double.